Friday night. Happy Friday. This is gonna be a very lighthearted live stream, and later I might do something for my members only. Um, Another probably fitness related video for my members only. Guys, tell me if my eyes look okay. I yesterday had a strong allergic reaction to something, and I don't know why. I did a late night run because my friend and I didn't go to the gym. He wanted to do some cardio, and I needed to get my run in for the day because I didn't do it early that day because I was being bad. And I went out at night, came back, and I was starting to look like Hitch. If you never saw that classic Will Smith movie, it's really funny. Um, it's like the good Will Smith when he was having this uh, anaphylactic reaction to some seafood, I believe. So I was having a similar reaction last night, and I don't know why. I don't know what I ran into because where I ran, I run that way every day. But I had a strong reaction. Eyes got really swollen, had hardness of breathing, because I guess because of the vasoconstrictors. Um, and it felt a bit disorienting. So instead of freaking out, because I think usually when people go through that sort of anaphylaxis, they freak out, which can actually cause more problems. What I did instead is I stretched since I just finished my run, and then I just sat down calmly, told my wife, and she was like, "Take an antihistamine." So I busted out an antihistamine, and it started the swelling to come down little by little, but it was still there when I woke up. I was still looking like I had a severe cognitive impairment, so to speak. I guess you can understand what I'm saying here. And so what did I do? I'm a knucklehead. I went back out to run again. I was like, all right, this time I'm gonna do a full run because yesterday it was just a short run. And I was like, I bet you if I do a full run, I won't feel this way. What's up, Banana Man? And true, and indeed, I was right. I don't know if maybe there was something that was sprayed yesterday that caused that reaction, or maybe it is a sort of pollen that I come into in that area that gives me a hardness of breathing. Because I do notice I normally do get a hardness of breathing in the same place every time I run, but it's on a steep incline, so I just assumed that the hardness of breathing was caused by the incline of the run itself. It could be both. In any case, I didn't get any reaction today, and I didn't even have to take another antihistamine, and my eyes started to reduce the swelling. But I still, when I went outside, I wore sunglasses anyway, just in case, so I didn't look crazy looking. So you guys can tell me if my eyes look okay today. Hopefully they do. I noticed this one was more on the gangster lean than this one, but it looked like the eyelids have the swelling has come down pretty much, almost to its normal range. um, but that partial fear that I had last night with the shortness of breath and disorienting feeling leads me into what I'm going to talk about today. Um, Banana Man says, "I hope you find success." I appreciate it, bro. I hope you do too. He says, "Wait, do you support Passport Bros or not?" I do support them with a caveat. For one, I am a Passport Bro. I travel overseas for love. That's how I met my wife. I rejected the local women in Maryland and in Baltimore particularly and said, no, I'm gonna get my passport. I'm gonna go overseas and find whom I want. Because before I met my wife, I was dating another Filipina, but I was dating her from here, and we broke up before um, I got a chance to go there. And I think that was actually pretty fortuitous on my end because I met my wife instead, who is a much better person. So, however, you have to watch you have to watch some of my videos, man, because I've talked about Passport Bros um, a lot. I do have criticisms for the movement. It's because some of these guys move. Some of these guys are basically just sex tourists, and the whole thing is so the you can't get mad at the mainstream media and for some of these very female dominated online spaces for criticizing these men, and they're doing the very things that that they're claiming that these women in mainstream media are claiming of them that they don't do, like moving around like sex tourists, being irresponsible overseas, and so many other things. I've gone into it ad nauseum. But anyway, that's not what this topic is. As I was saying, I was because of my fear from my little anaphylactic shock yesterday, or whatever it was, the severe allergic reaction I had to something in the environment. I still don't know what it was. I don't know if it was just the pollen that I come across every day, or if it was something they were spraying at the time. I don't even know, but it leads us into what will be starting very soon. Spooky season. Spooky season is upon us. Here in Maryland, kids will be going back to school Monday. Freshmen and freshmen in college have moved into their dorms at my alma mater, and I'm pretty sure in many other universities across the country, a lot of the freshmen and returning undergrads are moving in to their places on campus, which is always like a fun time for most of them. For some, maybe not, but for a lot of them, it was pretty fun. I didn't get the experience of moving in on campus as a freshman since I started my freshman year at a community college, and when I transferred to my school to my alma mater, I came there as a transfer student, and I lived on off campus housing, which was but it was for students, and then a year later moved on to campus housing. Long story, but anyway, so I consider, and I could be wrong because there's no official date to spooky season, but I consider once school starts, that is the start of spooky season. There's no agreed upon date for spooky season. Some people put it as early as July 5th. I think that's a little premature. July is still like the hottest point in the summer for depending on where you live. And you know, I can't celebrate spooky season when I'm still burning up. um, Sarah, hi Sarah. The topic tonight is spooky season has begun, so that's what I'm talking about. So, um, yeah, like I said, I can't say what the official date is. Some people put it right after Independence Day at July 5th. I think that's a little too early for spooky season. Other people put it at September 1st or October 1st or October 3rd. These are all, to me, these are all arbitrary days. Now, July 5th isn't an arbitrary date, but I just disagree. The spooky season starts in the middle of the summer. That doesn't make sense to me. Saying spooky, like it's still hot as hell, and there's still other holidays. But for me, and spooky season is my favorite time of the year. For me, it's the beginning of the school year. So that can differ from place to place, of course. But here in Maryland, it starts this Monday. So I'm saying spooky season has begun this weekend. It's Friday, so I'm saying spooky season has begun this weekend. here. Maybe you might differ somewhere where you live, where the kids don't go back till like the beginning of September or whatever. Um, but yeah, and unfortunately they don't really get into stuff like spooky season in the Philippines. Now some places do celebrate Halloween over there in the Philippines, but it's usually people of the higher social strata, because people of the lower social strata don't really have the opportunity nor probably the honestly the interest in Halloween and stuff and the related stuff around spooky season. GJC says, oh, I always thought Halloween should be in the summer. As a kid, boss. I had a boss costume, but gotta wear my jacket over it. Used to upset me pretty bad. Yeah, I don't think it should be in the middle of the summer though. It's like hot. I'm not thinking of anything spooky in the middle of the summer. For me, spooky season and the cooler weather go hand in hand. So I would say at the latest, it would be like the the fall equinox, which is usually around September 21st. Um, but even like I think arguably at least by fall equinox, you could say the spooky season. It's the end of the summer, like fall equinox. It's the end of the summer officially, and it's cooler. You're in the midst of the new school year. You're leading up to Halloween, and Halloween was just so fun as a kid. This is why I think so many Gen X and millennials have made Halloween and spooky season in general like a more of a favorite pastime for adults as opposed to children. And I think even with the children, it's fun because a lot of folks who are parents or guardians probably get a kick out of dressing up their dressing up their little ones and sending them out to go trick or treat if they still do that. It's not the same though because a lot of them don't even trick or treat the way we did. Like they go to the mall or they go to church to trick or treat. That's not the same. It's actually hitting the pavement and just going door to door as soon like it would be like almost like right after school. Back this is back in the 80s, right? Like right after school, everyone will put on their costume if they didn't wear it to school. Because some people wore their costume to school, because most schools, um, public schools, let kids dress up in their costumes at school. Sometimes I can't remember, but I think sometimes I did, sometimes I didn't. I don't remember, but excuse me. Then there was a church I went to at one point where they allowed us to have a Halloween party, and they even had a haunted house, which was awesome. Which a lot of other churches don't do because, especially back in the 80s, there was this irrational fear that Satanists came out and abducted kids during Halloween, which could be the furthest thing from the farthest. Well, yeah, it would have been the furthest thing from the truth because first of all, most Satanists don't actually worship Satan. Most of them are just atheists who are who are making fun of Christian beliefs. And two, even the ones who might actually do weird stuff like that, like most of them aren't out there doing that because they knew that the law enforcement had a heightened sense of awareness for any sort of weird stuff going on at the time. The other fear was old that there were creepy old people who would stick razors in apples or poison candy. So every parent was told, don't let your kids eat the candy before you inspect it. Like they got to make sure that the everything is properly wrapped. That if it didn't look like it was properly wrapped, that it has been tampered with or something like that. So it was all these irrational fears. Most people who were willing to give kids candy were not trying to hurt them. Not then, not now. Um, And I think the fear of apples having raisins in it was probably just the spirit on by the fact that most people thought it off-putting that someone would put something healthy in a kid's trick-or-treat bag instead of just giving them candy. although some there were some things that people might give you other than candy that could be really good. Like say if they gave you like Rice Krispie treats or brownies or something, it was properly wrapped up so it wouldn't, you know, so it wouldn't be sticking into your bag. Like they would like put it in some cellophane wrap or something, like brownies or or like Rice Krispie treats. Those were cool. Um, or uh, or when McDonald's used to give you these coupons, people could sometimes give out these little McDonald's treat coupons instead of candy back then. Some kids hated it, some kids liked it. I mean, I didn't hate them, but as long as I still got candy, I was fine. I mean, not from that same house, but as long as I got enough candy from the other houses, I didn't mind the coupons. Plus, the coupons came in handy because when you did finally go to McDonald's and you realize, oh, I got this coupon to get free treats from McDonald's, that was clutch right there, right? Um, and like I said, and then everyone remembers the classic costumes. I forgot, guys in the chat, if you guys remember the name of the person who makes the classic Halloween costumes. I think there's a brand name that's been going on since like the 60s and 70s. I can't remember his name, but his name is known for all the costumes that people wore in the 70s, 80s, and 90s. If you guys can remember that, put that in the chat. But everyone used to wear those except for like the kids whose parents were like really into it. They could make them homemade costumes. I remember I was jealous in the second grade because I had like one of those store bought Toys R Us costumes. Like I said, I can't remember the brand name, but I thought I was doing big things with my He-Man costume. And this white kid, came to school with a homemade He-Man outfit, and I was jealous because it looked dope. It was, his costume was dope. I was like, man, whoever made that did, like they had, like it had the sewn, like he had like the sewn on muscles, the little bodies, the little body armor. He had like the golden hair, like his He Man's blonde hair as a wig on. And since he was white, he already matched the character more than I did, wearing like the costume with the little mask with the little rubber band that always pops if you wear it too long. Let me get to some of these comments. Uh, GJC says evening. What's up, GJC? Sarah says okay, nice. GJC says as much as I love fall and Halloween, I love summer more and want to enjoy it. I don't. Summer's too hot, especially with global warming. It's not comfortable. Like summer is just not comfortable. I don't like being feeling sweaty and swampy all day long. Like it's only comfortable if you're inside enjoying the AC, but being outside in that blistering heat, mm-mm. And then people who have to work outside every day and they got to be in that heat, like service technicians, mm-mm. No sir. Sarah says I always thought it in September. Yeah, it can be September, Sarah. Like I was just saying that I think since there's no official date to spooky season, it should just start at the beginning of the school year, um, for for kids. And I was saying here in Maryland, since their school year starts Monday, and even the college kids have returned to campuses this weekend here in Maryland, that I'm going to consider this weekend the start of spooky season for this year. So, like I said, it may differ where you live. I forgot where you live, Sarah. If I'm not sure if you told me before. That's much better. GJC says, I always thought Halloween should be in summer. Oh, I've already read these. I'm sorry. Guys, I'm rereading comments I already saw. Sarah says, we love it. We always turn out back. Forest into a kids friendly haunted trail. Can't wait. Oh, that's awesome. There, there was there's an amusement park near me where I live that I think they still do that, where they do like the little creepy thing where they turn into like call it the Freak Fest or whatever they call it. Not that sort of Freak Fest, but uh, like Scare Fest or something like that. And like the whole amusement park is set up to be like haunted. I've never done that, but I would like to do that. But that would be something I would like to do like with my wife. I don't want to just go by myself or with another friend, unless it's like a group of us. If it's a group of us, sure. But if it's not a group of us, I'd rather like do that with my wife. So maybe they have something like that in the Philippines we can do. But yeah, that sounds fun. Or going to those, or like going, or like there's another thing we did in the '80s. I'm sure some places still do it. Like going out to those little farms, to the pumpkin patches, and picking out our own pumpkins to make into jack o' lanterns. Man, that was so much fun. I remember they even had like these specialized um, knives, which are almost like scalpels for like carving your jack o' lanterns that you could buy in the stores back then. I'm sure they probably still sell those. But yeah, that was so much fun. Like actually going out to a pumpkin patch at a farm and picking out your own pumpkins. Man, that was, the, man, those were the days. I'm getting nostalgic, guys. I'm sorry. GJC said just spent the week on Lake Erie and it was pretty cold, and we saw Halloween stuff for sale already. Oh yeah, 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 that's what I'm saying. Like that's why I'm saying I think spooky season started this week because you're already seeing stuff for sale. There's a great Facebook uh, fan page called Merkins where they just do like stuff related to like all the famous slashers from the 80s and 90s. They always do like funny stuff, and like this time of the year is like really big for them. Like they do a whole bunch of stuff. They already they already did like a song with Freddy Krueger singing country music, and and it's apparently their response to people saying it's too early to be celebrating spooky season and Halloween and this country music. And he was like, it's like Freddy Krueger decked out in like a little country like southern type suit. And he's like, I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. It's funny. He even has the big Texas belt buckle. But yeah, as far as I'm concerned, spooky season has started. Once the Merkins was talking about it, and I saw other venues online talking about spooky season is returned, I'm like, yeah, it's returned. Because as far as I'm concerned, it starts in the summer. Like I said, it starts at the very beginning. Once the school year starts, that's the return of spooky season. Sarah says I grew up reading the original book, Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. I've heard of that, but I've never read it. I used to read like some scary stuff, like, well, not scary stuff, but like I remember reading stuff like Bunnicula, all of the different Bunnicula movies. I mean, books. I think they did make a movie to it though, in like the late '90s, early 2000s. But I used to like reading Bunnicula and stuff like that. I was too young to get into the stuff. Are You Afraid of the Dark and all that stuff that came out in like the late '90s or whatever. That was more for like millennials. GJC said I used to love getting Coke mid trick or treating, so refreshing. They will put they give you soda as a for for a snack for trick or treat. Sarah says, always had homemade costumes. We were poor, lol, but always turned out better and did the same for my babies. To me, that's not poor though. To me, it takes. To me, it actually. Well, I guess it might. I guess it could be cheaper, but to me, it seems like it takes more effort to actually make your own outfits. That's not a bad thing at all. Like I said, I was envious of people who had homemade outfits because although I love those costumes, the famous costumes, and I can't. Hopefully, someone had left it in the chat what the name is. If not, I'll just look it up later. But those famous costumes that every kid used to wear from the '70s to the '90s, like those were dope. Like, but they didn't last. Like they all had that like when you open it, they all had that same rubbery smell. It all had the little rubber band for the mask. They would pop if you put it on too many times. Usually the little plastic uniform would rip if you wore it if you wore it for like if you walked around in it too much it would end up ripping. That's why a lot of kids like me often didn't want to wear our didn't want to wear our costumes to school because we were scared that we would rip it in school before we got to wear it for trick or treat. So sometimes, we wouldn't wear our costumes to school because we were scared that we might either pop the rubber band for the mask or tear something into the little plastic fabric. But but if that was a poor thing, making your own costume, as far as I'm concerned, that was an upgrade to like the little plastic uniforms we all bought from Toys R Us. Old Glory says, I love haunted houses, been to hundreds, been to some of the highest ranked haunted houses in the world. So, okay, here's a secret you guys don't know. I was a big scaredy cat when it came to haunted houses. I did not want to do them. And I wouldn't go. And I remember we were, even when I was like, I'm going to say 15. Yeah, because I think that was the last time we went. I was like 15 or 16. No, 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 no. I was 15, but I think that was the last year we went to Virginia Beach as a family. And me and my cousin Malcolm, because I used to always hang out with him when I was on Virginia Beach. My father would pick him up and have him hang out with us on the strip, so that I would have someone my age to play with while we were out there. And we were all going up to the haunted house, and I was like, and my cousin and I, we were like, nah, we don't want to do it. But my father and my stepmother went in, and they came out, and they was like, I saw my stepmom. She was all like, this is." And my father, he was just smiling, and he was these two girls hanging on my father on each arm, like why, like my stepmom's hanging on to him, and these two girls were hanging on to him, and they were both cute. They were both my age, like my age, and me and my cousin looking at each other like, damn, what the hell? Like, how my dad pull that off? And my stepmom, she was like, oh my gosh, she was like, yeah, that was so scary. She's like, your father wasn't that scared. And she was like, these two girls were near us, and she said they got so scared they jumped and was hanging on to your father when we were leaving the haunted house. And I was telling my cousin, I was like, damn, that should have been us. I was like, that could have been us, man. We should have went in. I was like, shit. But yeah, I was always scared of haunted houses. Old Glory, like there was a church we went to, and the church used to have a Halloween party for the kids, and part of the last part of the party was the haunted house. But I was scared, so the pastor, what he would do is, for the kids that didn't want to do the haunted house, they could just sit in the lobby with him while everyone else went through the haunted house. And I was scared. I'm not going to even hold you. Like this was like this well, because we switched churches, but for the first 2 years when I lived in Illinois, so like when I was like 8 and 9, um, yeah, I went to those parties, and at least the first 2 or 3 years, I would say, when I first lived in Illinois, we we were at that same church before we switched to this other boring ass black church, but different story for a different day. And yeah, we I would never go through the haunted house. When my best friend didn't either. We were just hanging down there in the lobby with the pastor. He didn't mind. He just stayed there for all the kids that didn't want to go through the haunted house because it looked scary. And I'm sorry, I was a wimpy kid. I didn't want to do the haunted house at all. Oh, Glory says I love Halloween. Same here, man. That's my favorite holiday, hands down. My favorite holiday. The whole season, the whole spooky season that comes with Halloween is my favorite. And part of the reason is actually the movies. Like when AMC was still a good channel to watch on cable, like AMC would have like the Halloween fest. Like as soon as it started October, they would show nothing but classic Halloween movies, especially the old Stephen King stuff and some of these other movies, the old Halloween movies, the old Friday the 13th ones, like before it got stupid after part 6 when it got stupid. All the ones before that, those were classic. The old like all the old slasher films, and then that was when um Walking Dead was still at its height of popularity. So you have all these horror films coming on, and then the new season of Walking Dead would start. So AMC was AMC was killing it, figuratively. um, so that got me interested in then watching like stuff with like adult Halloween parties and stuff like that. I'm like, yeah, I want to do that. So that's what really like probably like I say like 12, 13 years ago really got me into spooky season. But I've always loved Halloween as a kid. That's like my favorite holiday. Maybe Christmas was a little bit more popular to me as a kid just because toys kind of beat candy for me. And to be honest, if I could still get toys for Christmas, it probably would still be my favorite holiday. Hint, hint, Mrs. Contrarian, if you're out there somewhere watching this or moderating, um, Christmas would be a lot of fun still with toys. That's all I'm saying, Mrs. Contrarian. Oglory says I've not been to a haunted house in a few years though. I haven't been to one at all, so you still got one up on me. I might, but I'll go to one next time I see one offered. You ever heard of Sloss Furnace? What's that? By the way, guys, not to be a Debbie Downer, but I was seeing something on this YouTube channel called McDojo Life that talks about fake martial arts and martial arts instructors who do very bad things. So apparently, a karate expert was at some amusement park where there was actors who are there paid, to try to scare you. And I think he beat the person up because he got scared. I'm about to watch that video, but shout out to McDojo Life. Go watch his channel. It's really good stuff on martial arts. It's teaching you the stuff that isn't good martial arts. Rather, it talks about fake martial arts instructors, and about some of the dark side of things within the martial arts community to avoid. Right. So, really good channel. Check it out. And like I said, he's done something which also seems to show that this is the beginning of spooky season because he just did a report about like again a karate expert who beats up a an actor paid to scare you at an amusement park. Sarah says, "Me too, old glory." Sarah says, "Freak Fest." Blah. Yeah, I didn't mean Freak Fest. I meant I think it was called like Scare Fest or something like that. Montana Black says, "What's your favorite Yu-Gi-Oh card?" So that's actually funny, Montana. I don't have any, but I do have. Let me show you. Were you on my segment when I showed the new McDonald's Happy Meal guys? is a fusion of Yu-Gi-Oh and Hello Kitty. Go check that out. The first one that's come out is a fusion of Hello Kitty and the Dark Magician. I just started watching Yu-Gi-Oh literally a day ago because when it first came out about 22, 21 years ago, no, I mean, about 20, excuse me, 23 years ago, I couldn't get into it because I was like, what's going on? It's like none of these rules make any sense. And even one of my friends who was watching it, he was like, yeah, they just literally just make stuff up. I'm like, okay, so I'm not tripping. He said, oh no, you're not tripping. He said they just make shit up. I was like, all right, so I was like, I can't get into it. I said, at least Pokemon has rules, but um, I couldn't get into Yu-Gi-Oh back then. But now I'm watching it, it's not that bad. It's still goofy, but it's like an entertaining type of goofy. So I actually am going to buy a deck of Yu-Gi-Oh cards. I'm actually need to remind myself to put it on my list of things. So next time I go out, I can actually buy them. Uh, but yeah, I don't have any, but I'll show you my little Happy Meal gift that I got Montana. If I hope you're still watching this, by the way. If not, everyone else will see it and they can and you can see it on the replay. Where is it? So it's a fusion of Hello Kitty and the Dark Magician. So, and you can get these at McDonald's now with the Happy Meal. So, um, so that fits spooky season. Dark Magician, Yu-Gi-Oh. Um, so probably after I get off this live stream, I'm gonna watch a little bit more Yu-Gi-Oh. I'm on episode 6, the first duel, and I'm gonna put remind myself to put on my list a deck of Yu-Gi-Oh cards. I'm actually going to hit up my friend actually asking him if he has any spares just to start me out. Just like I have a deck of Magic the Gathering cards, and I've never played Magic to get my Magic Gathering deck. And I bought a beginning D&D game, Dungeons and Dragons, and I still haven't played that yet. But most of the places they do it are like at comic book stores, and none of them are local to me anymore. There was one in Old Ellicott City that closed down. Old Ellicott City is a place in Maryland in Howard County, um, which is like in the greater Baltimore area. Old Ellicott City got partially destroyed with some flooding back about 8, 9 years ago, and that store closed afterwards. Um, then the other comic book stores near me closed or moved. No, some closed or moved to other places. Like the place I used to always go because it was right up the street from me. Well, driving distance wise, it was right up the street. Moved to Lincoln, Maryland, which is near where the BWI airport is, the Baltimore Washington International Airport, or Thurgood Marshall Airport. So there's none near me. There was one in a mall near me, but it was too small for them to do things like playing cards or playing role playing games. So that was never a factor. But yeah, I am gonna get some Yu-Gi-Oh cards, man. Thanks for reminding me because I probably would have got off the stream and forgot to put that on my list. And now I'm also gonna ask my friend if he has some spare cards to get me started. But go to go to go to McDonald's, get you a Happy Meal, and it has the fusion of Hello Kitty and Yu-Gi-Oh. Like I said, that's the first one that just came out was the Hello Kitty fused with the Dark Magician. So, oh, Glory says if this chat ever pops off, he's going to never log off. Answering each comment with a 4 minute answer. No, so what happened? So that actually happened a few times with Glory where like I was talking politics and I had like hundreds and hundreds of um, viewers and they left so many comments that I couldn't get into all of them, and I completely didn't realize that so many comments were left because I didn't see them going, streaming down the list because this is the mobile live stream. I'm not doing a PC live stream where I would see all the stuff coming in Or if I do a horizontal live stream instead of vertical, I will see all the comments coming down stream. But when I'm doing it vertically, it stays on the same place until I move it myself manually, which I actually prefer. But when you have like flood a flooding of comments, it can get hard to keep up with. But I couldn't even try to even it would have been no way I could have kept up with all those comments at the time when I was talking about some political issues last Sunday and then the previous week before, and it just flooded. It was crazy. Sarah says I'm from Chicago and it started in August then, but moved to Deep South Georgia 8 years ago. Okay, yeah, okay. Because I remember you either telling me Chicago or Georgia, so yeah, I remember that. BSK, what's up? He said in and out. Check in when able. I appreciate it, BSK. Sarah Dell said, oh, by the way, BSK, you can check in tomorrow, late afternoon my time. Miss Needle is gonna be back on the channel, so Miss Needle will be, um, she will be here again live with me. Um, Sarah says here they start in September because of the heat. See, that's what I'm saying. Like, if it's too hot, you can't really get into spooky season when it's hot because spooky season kind of goes with cooler weather. You know, like you don't think sweaty, hot, like humid weather, blister, like blistering, so blistering glare from the sun. Think spooky. You think wearing a jacket, drinking some hot chocolate or coffee. That's that's spooky season. Johnny Johnny West says, remember how pissed off you would get when you started seeing back to school specials? Not really. I mean, I don't know what your experience was, but I always loved the back to school era. I love that, man. Uh, I don't know if it's because I'm nerdy or I just love school, but I think because I like school was great for socializing. So I was always happy when schools, like, I don't get me wrong. As a kid, I loved the summers. I definitely loved the summer as a kid, but I didn't dread back to school. To me, it was like fun. Like that was the best part of summer because everyone, well, if you had money, everyone would go out to buy like their new clothes. So everyone would be going to school. I mean, come to school all their new clothes on that first week, and then it was fun to buy like all your little school equipment that you needed. Like the teachers would give your parents a listing of all the stuff they needed. So and like again, this is gonna be very 80s, so sorry, but like getting like a trapper keeper and getting like the little book covers for your textbooks. And sometimes we didn't buy book covers, so we would just put paper bags. We would just cut up a paper bag and fold it over our textbooks, and then draw over the bag any like different designs or whatever on it, or put stickers on them. So I love going back to like the back to school specials, like buying all the school stuff we needed, like because you would because all the stuff was geared towards kids, like the different pencils and erasers and pens and the remember the the little container you would get to put all your store all your stuff in for school, like all your stationary items. Like I said, going to buy your clothes, that was cool. I remember like by the time we got to high school though, I knew that a lot of people actually couldn't afford to buy new clothes, so they would just lie and say, "Man, I don't need to buy new clothes for school." They was like, "Man, that's lame buying new clothes for school." And I was like, "Yeah, okay, you're just saying that because you can't get any clothes, and I understand, but it's not lame." Johnny says, "I bet if he could buy '80s little kids Halloween costumes, it would be top dollar." Well, they so, um, like I was saying, I was asking people if they knew the name of the designer of all the '80s costume Halloween costumes, but they still make those costumes, and they make them in adult sizes now. Because I actually have something on eBay. I better check to see if it's still there. Because I found like the classic like Batman kid Halloween costume, but they started making it in adult sizes. Because like I said, spooky season now is more for adults than kids. Just sort of like, just sort of like how like most middle aged men like myself buy toys now, not kids. Like if you go into toy sections of like Target, Walmart, um, Marshalls, and some of these other places, it's grown ass adults like me in the toy section looking for these toys like Transformers, um, GI Joe, like the GI Joe classifieds, the Transformers War for the Cybertron, or that new Studio '86 ones, or the McFarlane toys. Like, it's adults looking for that stuff. So same thing. Like they've made a lot of these costumes. If you go to like the comic book stores, or you go to what's that big store that's just for costumes? I can't remember the name, but most of that stuff is geared actually towards adults. So yeah, I am gonna buy one of those '80s little kids Halloween costumes. But it's for they make them adult sizes though. I because like I said, there's one on eBay. If and that's if I don't buy it first at Third Eye Comics, because I might buy it at Third Eye Comics first. Sarah says, "Have you seen a movie with Nicole Kidman? Newer take on a classic horror, old school movie. Definitely recommend. Called The Others. Yeah, I did see that. That was good. Like that was like probably one of the rare times that I actually thought a horror movie was scary, because the plot twist, spoiler alert for everyone, is that the they were the ghosts and not the other, like not the people they were afraid of. The people they were afraid of were the humans. They were the ghosts. That was a good twist. What the twist? Like I'm playing no, but that was the others was really good. Um, and like I said, if you guys have Netflix accounts, really good horror movies that come out of Southeast Asia, particularly like Indonesia. They're called Indo horror movies, but some of them are also in Malaysia, Philippines, and Thailand. They got some really good horror movies over there. So if you're tired of the same old here, like The Conjuring and all that sort of stuff, and check out some of these Indo horror movies on Netflix. They have like and they're really good. They're really a lot of them are based on some of the the uh the native animist religions of Indonesia prior to Islam becoming the the state religion. But and most of it centers around like usually there's been a wrong, some sort of moral wrong that needs to be corrected. So those movies are pretty good for. So if you never checked out those Indonesian horror movies, or check out those Indo horrors on Netflix. They're really good. I recommend them. Sneebleman says today an old lady told me, young you people remind me of Yogi Bear because you're always stealing food and half of you live in a park. I don't get that. But he goes on to say in 2022, I got a lot of flack from my Halloween decorations in my yard from the rest of the neighborhood for having featured several recreations of scenes from the newer Dahmer series. I, I haven't watched this, so I wouldn't even know what you're talking about. when everyone started watching it, it made me not want to watch it. To be honest, like I don't know if that's weird or not, but usually when people talk about how popular a show is, that makes me not want to watch it unless it's something that already unless it's something that already is this already something that I would watch anyway, something that already piqued my interest, like Game of Thrones. Like even though Game of Thrones was probably like the last time something got so popular that a lot of people watched it, and a lot of people chose not to watch it just to say they were not people who watched it, which is just stupid. Like if you're not gonna watch it because you don't want to see it. Don't watch it just because you want to be able to say that you don't watch it. That's kind of that's kind of inane. That's what being a contrarian is. But yeah, I wasn't into the Dahmer thing because I don't like murder porn. So to me, the whole Jeffrey Dahmer thing kind of fell into the whole murder porn genre of TV. So that's why I never watched it. Sarah says we we go to Goodwill and with $100 and get about $500. Excuse me, 500 in Halloween stuff. Love it. Okay, noted. Goodwill. I've been meaning actually to go to one just to check out how what kind of stuff they might have there. Goodwill and Amvets, if that's still around. I think there still is Amvets. I remember when I used to live in Illinois, we used to use Amvets as an insult. Like, yeah, you look like you got your outfit from Amvets. And everybody like, ooh, he's saying you poor, ooh. I remember I said that once around my best friend and I, we were like cracking jokes on each other. And he was saying something. I was like, yeah, that's why you got that from AMVETS. And then his stepfather was like, there ain't nothing wrong with AMVETS. AMVETS stands for American Veterans. That's where such and such and such. And my best friend was like, yeah. I was like, man, I'm looking at him like, come on, you already know in school they would have laughed at you and your stepfather for saying some shit like that. Talking about you can't talk about AMVETS. That stands for the American Veterans. American Veterans is a staple part of our society. May reason why you enjoy your freedom. And my best friend was like, yeah. I was like, but yeah, I do want to check out some stuff at the Goodwill and find a good military surplus store. There used to be one in right here in my grandmother's neighborhood a long time ago, and it closed. It was literally just called Army Surplus, and I used to buy stuff from there. Like I bought like an army duffel bag that I turned into a punching bag. I think I got like a pepper spray and pocket knife from there too. So Sleeper Masters is I don't think it was in Porte sure you could say it's scary or graphic, or even offensive. But I had a donation box for a charity run by one of the victims' families. Okay, like I said, I don't really have a strong opinion on it because I never watched the movie. Um, and the Dahmer thing happened so long ago that I can't see how that would open wounds for the victims' families. I mean, I guess I it, it could still be a sore spot for them, definitely. But once that sort of stuff became mainstream through Netflix and it went viral online, it's I don't know. It's hard to say that was in poor taste because there was literally like all sorts of like memes about the Dahmer thing when that series came out on Netflix last year, and people were making, and then there was even women talking about they thought Dahmer was sexy because of the way he was depicted on the show, on the Netflix show. So again, I can't say it's in poor taste or not because I never watched it. Sneeble Mess says the main point of contention for my neighbors was that I featured a living room scene with Jeffrey brandishing a knife while a child sat on his couch. That could be a bit touchy. He says I even had the TV VCR combo featured in that scene playing the scene. That could be a bit touchy. Funny, but touchy. But no Diddy. Sarah says I would have I kind of would have been the same needle. Sorry. Yeah, I think a sore spot. Sorry. No. I get it. Mm-mm-mm. But yeah, so I've already talked about my favorite stuff as a kid around Halloween and spooky season. I guess it's time to shift focus from that to as an adult, right? Because like I said, as a kid, some of the favorite stuff was definitely aside like well obviously trick or treating was like the highlight of it, right? Just pure like trick or treating um, was so fun. Like actually just going door to door for like hours, like just walking around for like maybe 2 or 3 hours, going trick or treat. And then sometimes parents would then take us to the mall and we get even more candy or stuff like that. Um, being able to wear your costumes and in school that day was fun. Um, the church that I went to for like 2 or 3 years before we switched to this really dull church having their own Halloween party and haunted house. Like we did all the stuff that probably kids wouldn't do today because it's not very hygienic, like bobbing for apples and stuff like that. Bobbing for apples was so unhygienic. Like people putting their whole face in the water, going trying to bite apples, and got all the little stuff running from their nose and and coming out their mouth. Like that was not hygienic. Like anyone who bobbed for apples back in the 80s, you're safe from COVID-19. If you if you bobbed for apples back in the 80s or even the 90s, your immune system was already strong enough for COVID-19. This is why it's 2024 and I never had COVID-19. Bobbing for apples. I'm kidding, but I said then the other really cool thing besides the Halloween parties uh, was like going out to a pumpkin patch and picking your own pumpkins. That was so cool. Do kids still get to do that nowadays? I'm curious for you guys who are parents. Can you still take your kids out to go like to a pumpkin patch and pick your own pumpkins? That was so fun. Not gonna, that was so fun. And then you go home and your parents help you cut a little jack o' lantern um, from the pumpkin, and you dig out, you hollow out the pumpkin, and your mom would like cook the pumpkin seeds, put some salt or whatever on them, and you can eat the pumpkin seeds. Oh, and pumpkin pie. Like I'm a traitor. Apparently, I'm a traitor to the black community because I prefer pumpkin pie over sweet potato pie. But like I always tell people, I literally can't tell the difference. You would have to point to me which one is the sweet potato pie and which one is the pumpkin pie because I can't tell the difference. They look the same, they taste the same, they smell pretty much the same. But if I have to choose one or the other, I'm choosing the pumpkin pie because it goes more. To me, pumpkin pie goes with the season more than sweet potato. You can eat sweet potato pie any time of the year. I mean, you can eat pumpkin pie any time of the year as well. But pumpkin pie goes with the time of the season. It goes with Halloween and Thanksgiving because it's that time of the year, that fall, that whole that whole era, like from that whole era from September to November. You know that To me, that's pumpkin pie eating season. Uh, Pumpkin seeds. Um, women. I'm guessing most women like, well, probably young women too, but I'm guessing mostly like women 30 and over love got to get their little pumpkin spice lattes or whatever, right? Like my mom and everyone else, like as soon as pumpkin spice returns, which tastes nothing like pumpkins, by the way. But anyway, as soon as soon as like it's fall, they're ready to get their pumpkin spice. Um, and my mother gets it in everything. It's not just coffee. Like she gets pumpkin spice cookies, pumpkin spice. Um, I don't know everything because she had me try something. I forgot what it was, and it was pumpkin spice. And I was like, this isn't good. She's like, you don't like it? I was like, no. I was like, pumpkin spice isn't supposed to be in everything. So those are my favorite things as a kid. And like I said, buying the costume, going to like Toys R Us back in the day, and like as soon as you walk into the store, the first part that you go into is like just all Halloween costumes and Halloween related merchandise. That was so cool. And like buying like it would be like Halloween makeup, and they used to, and there was these toys that were released for the Universal monsters back in the 80s, and I never bought them. Now I want to get one as well. Again, all of this stuff is on my eBay. So after I get off this, again, going there about my Yu-Gi-Oh cards and all my Halloween stuff, like my Halloween Batman costume, um, and my Universal Monster action figures. I wanted the Dracula one, but the Wolfman and the Mummy were cool too. There was like Dracula, Wolfman, the Mummy, um, the creature from the Blue Lagoon, and the Phantom from the Phantom of the Opera. I think those were the five Universal Monster action figures, and some of them came in a version where they glowed in the dark, and there was even a playset that came with it too. But I only remember that, um, but I only remember them selling it around the Halloween season. That's because that's probably when they could push that merch out. But now as an adult, and I'm gonna get back to the comments in a second. But now as an adult, I guess celebrate spooky season differently. So now it's more about uh, watching the old horror movies, or new horror movies if there's some good ones. Um, I haven't gone to any Halloween parties. I haven't gone to hol- uh, Halloween party since college. Um, like back when was in between like undergrad and grad school, I went to this Halloween party um, with a friend of mine from a frat. We weren't in the frat, but because we were living in the frat house, they were doing their some of their rush stuff. So we couldn't be there if we weren't trying to rush the fraternity. So they asked us, could we be gone for the day, which was cool because they actually put us up in a hotel for the night, and he and I went to this Halloween party with another one of my buddies, and it was pretty cool. We met some cool chicks. The Halloween party was pretty dope. It was a white chick and black face there, and I was like, and this is like, and again, this isn't like long time ago. This is like 2000, 2005, 2006. Yeah, 2005 ish. Yeah, 2005, I believe, or 2006, one of those. And the chick was wearing blackface, like patently, just it was patent blackface. It wasn't like, oh, I'm trying to look like a specific person. No, she was dressed up like a black girl wearing blackface, And I was like, yo, she better never hope she runs for like politics or something in the past because somebody's gonna take a picture of that. I should have took a picture of it, but but yeah, as an adult, like I think like the highlight for me is watching like movies and talking shit online because I don't really hit Halloween parties anymore now because I'm not trying to stay up that late. Now, if I'm overseas, that's different because Japan parties, man, if you guys don't know, they party hard in Tokyo when it comes to Halloween. Like so much so that it's be like the Japanese like Tokyo authorities have been trying to keep people from like partying too hard, like particularly in Shibuya, Tokyo. They party hard out there during Halloween. Now that I would definitely go to without a hesitation, without a thought of hesitation. Um, because I've been to Shibuya, it is fun there. But to have to go to like ch- watch watch the celebrations of people celebrating Halloween in Tokyo this year, if you've never seen it, or you can check out some of the stuff from previous years. They go hard in the paint when it comes to like celebrating. So I think that would be something as an adult I can enjoy, like doing some sort of Halloween celebration overseas, and also giving out stuff to kids. Like I remember I gave out some trick or treat candy at my mother's house last year, and some kids came over. I think they were like the last round of kids to come, and they knew my niece, and so I was giving them candy, and the boy looked up. He was smiling. He's like, "Man, you guys got the best Halloween candy." So that that felt good. Getting compliments from kids is always good because they're genuine. Like kids don't know how to fake kids. Well, most kids don't know how to fake compliments like that. So when they say stuff like that, they actually mean it. So that was cool. But anyway, let me get to the comments. So Sarah was still talking about what what Sneeble Master was referring to when he said he set up a scene from the Jeffrey Dahmer Netflix series in his at his home that upset some of his neighbors. So she says, so I remember when it all came out, and I think personally some things are just too touchy. Yeah, I I can agree with that. Had to time a few people out. Sarah says, here we have a church on every corner, so no worries, but we still do the forest haunted trail and everyone loves it. Yes, we still go to the pumpkin patch every year, have cider and go through. Oh, that's cool with the cider. Is it the pumpkin cider? Oh man, that's so. I think that's what I mid about. Excuse me, miss about living in the Midwest. It was just I don't know. In many ways, the Midwest was more wholesome, more just um, like real like like American qua American type upbringing, like living in the Midwest. Because I think the pumpkin patches, I might have done them here in Maryland as a kid, but I'm pretty sure it was when I was living in Illinois. I think the corn maze. I never. Wait, did we do? I think we did do a corn maze, Sarah. I think we did that too. It's so long. Sorry, it was so long ago. I mean, I'm 46, so a lot of this stuff is hazy. I remember the pumpkin patch, but I'm trying to remember if we did the corn maze or not. I'm thinking we did, but I'm not sure, honestly. Let me get some water. Sneeble says, have you seen the lady who is currently building the Halloween display in her front yard, showing scenes from World War II camps and comparing it to scenes from the war in the East? Now, that is in poor taste. I haven't heard of that. Sarah says, very agreed with Sneeble. Sarah says, yes, they do. Japan is so much fun. Yeah. like I said, I'm pretty sure Osaka does stuff too, because you're not gonna find this in like some of the more rural parts of Japan, but Tokyo's literally right now the largest city per capita in the world. Um, so plenty to do there. And like I said, I think the heart of Halloween celebration in Tokyo is in Shibuya. Everyone floods in from other parts of the city to to um to party in Shibuya, and there's a lot of foreigners to come out there, and like they can tend to be very abrasive on the Tokyo subway system because you got all these people drunk and in costumes just partying, swinging back and forth through the subway and just wild, just being wild. It's like I definitely want to check that out. It's probably not for someone who might be scared of enclosed spaces. So if someone can't deal with being bunched up with a lot of people, it's not for you. That would not be for you. For people who can't deal with that sort of stuff, being enclosed in tight spaces with a lot of random people. Don't go to Shibuya during Halloween. That wouldn't be the that wouldn't be the move. You you'll have a panic attack. Stephen Mass says the lady in face with Sinead O'Connor under the makeup. Hmm. Johnny says sober sex is for nerds. No, sober sex is for people who don't want to get charges. it's it's after the Me Too movement. Don't play around like that. I'm telling you, don't play around like that. It'll be completely fine. Cause and here's why I'm saying this, Johnny. You know now on some college campuses, even so on college campuses now, there are a lot of these campuses now have policies where even if the woman gave consent, if 30 days later, and I think it could be longer than that, depends on the campus, but if 30 days later she decides that she no longer consented, then they can still charge you. Mind you, she consented when you did it, but 30 days later she reneges on that and says, well, I no longer consent to what happened that day. They can still charge you. Don't Sober is the way to go. Don't mess around like that. I'm telling you. Mercanoid says someone told me that they are going to give out edibles to kids this year, and the scary part is I can't tell if he was joking. Well, see again, Mercanoid. That's why I was saying back in the day, like in the 80s and 90s, authorities used to always tell parents to always check your kids' candy before you let them eat it. Don't just let them eat it because they're not gonna kid. And I know as a kid myself, I'm not gonna look. I'm not gonna look at the candy and see and notice anything's wrong with it unless it's like something really creepy about it or off-putting about the candy. But otherwise, I'm just be popping candy in my mouth and eating it. No diddy. Um, but yeah, it was always up to the parents' discretion before they let their kids eat the candy. Because I remember my parents used to do that. Like, well, my mom and stepfather, like they would after I came back home with my bag of candy, they was like, wait, let me check this out first. And so my parents and like my best friend's parents, they would look at our candy first, before they let us eat it. Then once we got their approval, we just went we just ate so much candy we should have had diabetes. We should have had that guy from the Quaker Oats commercials staring down at us like that's how much candy we eat. My niece and nephew, like they their mother would well their mother would try to restrict how much candy they would eat, but that didn't work. I would hear them at nighttime eating eating their candy. It's like late at night. I still hear them like I'm like, guys, I'm looking at the time. It's like 1 or 2 in the morning. Like, why are they still eating candy? Even I was like, damn. Even my friends and I, we weren't that bad as kids. Like we tore our candy up, but we weren't up late at night still eating it. Like that's crazy. Mercanoy says that same guy told me Joe Biden and Frankie Valley from the Four Seasons were robots. Well, that person sounds like they have mental health problems. So I would take everything that person says uh, with a grain of salt. And also, if you think this guy actually is a danger either to minors or to himself, report it. Report it, Mercanoid. Like if you have genuine concerns that this person could either hurt kids or be a danger to himself, probably both, report him so they can. I mean, the cops can either lock him up or they might be able to put him on like was it 72-hour watch or something like that. Like, yeah, if you really think the guy is a genuine danger to himself and to kids, you don't report him. If you see something, say something, right? That's what they always tell us. If you see something, say something. If this guy's sitting there threatening to buy edibles and give them to little kids, report him. Don't just tell me on the live stream because I can't do anything about it. All I can tell you is, look, hey, if this guy is really cuckoo for cocoa puffs like that, report him to the authorities, report him to the police, and then they can work it out whether this guy is a goofball or not, and whether he needs professional help. Because I'm pretty sure he needs some sort of psychological evaluation to think that's even funny to do. Much less talking about Joe Biden and Frankie Valley. Like, what? Sarah says, "Do you and your wife dress up?" My hubby and I are still um, trying to decide what to be this year for the haunted trail. Last year we were nymphs, the green forest creatures. No, I've been trying to get my wife invested in Halloween. Now I have gotten her to like, so now we like buy candy for the kids, because now we don't live in a condo. So in the condo, the kids didn't go trick or treating. So instead, they would go downstairs. So our condo in Manila was one of these new live in shop. I forgot what the term is for it, but these new centers where you can both live in and shop. So the condo was on top of a mall, and also parking garage too, right? So we had a elevator just for us that goes directly into the mall. And so a lot of people who shop at the mall were also, people who lived in the condominium, although the mall is open to everyone, not just people who live in the condo. And so kids would come there and they had like little stuff like giving out treats and stuff like that. So the kids in the condo would just go down there. They didn't trick or treat from door to door within the condominiums, which was three separate buildings connected to the mall. But now we live in this gated community in the Philippines. I'm not there right now, obviously. I'm here in the States. But our home over there in the Philippines now it's like this gated community, and all the kids do actually come out and go trick or treating. I actually posted some pictures of that last year. Uh, actually, no, I should still have a video of it on in, in my videos if you want to check that out. But yeah, it was one little kid that got my wife all ready to have a kid because it was this really cute little Filipina girl wearing like a little bumblebee outfit, and she was like chubby, so she looked extra cute. And so she went out and watched the little kids like go trick or treating. I think they threw something in the little neighborhood just for the kids, but we haven't done anything like dressing up because in the in Manila, there's really not a spooky season culture, so there's not really places where you're gonna see them um, like really doing anything for Halloween. Like they'll celebrate All Saints Day afterwards because it's a very strong Catholic country. So you'll see instead a lot of people on Halloween getting prepared for All Saints Day the next day. But it's I don't really know of too many like things where they really like party where people dress up other than kids. So if I'm wrong, and I do find some place like that, then she and I definitely will try to dress up. Um, and if so, I have no idea what I would dress up as. Probably a superhero character. Maybe like I could do Green Lantern, and she could do one of the other female superheroes. Sarah says this year we're thinking video game couples. Any suggestions? Link and Zelda. Link and Zelda. That's what I think. Muhammad, you need to stop coming here saying marry me. First of all, I already told you I'm a married man. Two, you are a dude. You are not a girl. So stop lying. MD DM stands for someone with the name Muhammad. So cut it out with this gay shit. Take that somewhere else. This is not a we're not doing puff daddy parties over here. So stop coming here saying marry me or I'm gonna permanently time you out from this channel. You're a dude. And even if you were a woman, again, one, I'm married, and two, I would never take any solicitations online because I'm not, I'm not getting catfished. And and even if you were a pretty girl, I would know that there's something wrong with you that you would be begging someone online to marry you. Like you got 15 kids in the Philippines talking about, I need, I need money to pay for my baby milk, and my mother, she in the hospital. And we're hungry. Yeah, I'm not falling for that shit. Take it somewhere else. Take that shit to Nigeria or India or somewhere because it's not happening here, buddy. But yeah, Sarah, Link and Zelda. That's my suggestion. Those are video games. These are what the characters from the Core Bride. Yeah, it'll work. Drakel says I scrolled into the drama. Goiter. I haven't really heard goiter in the Philippines. They always talk about other things. Like and I'm not talking about the good Filipinos. I'm talking about the scammers who come online trying to scam Westerners, and they're usually always from like one of the provinces. They're not people from like Manila or Cebu or Davao. These are people from the provinces that are always trying to scam um, Americans or Europeans or Australians. Oh, my baby needs milk, and I'm like, your titties don't work. I'm like, no. Sometimes my breasts don't give milk. I'm like, well, you failed. Did you fall out of the mammalian species? Because mammals, of which humans are a group of mammals, we're literally defined by our females' capacities to give breast milk. Mammals standing from the mammary glands, like those don't work for you no more. Like I have to buy Similac. Like you best. Well, sounds like a personal problem. You need to use them titties. Or they be like, oh, or there's always some family member in the hospital. Family members such and such. Well, sucks for them. I'm sorry to hear that, but not my. That's not my problem. But can't you give a donation? Be nice and give. No, no, no. Or the other one is, I'm hungry. I need food. Okay, well, you better you, you better go around and show them what that mouth do. So I was like, plus I'm not trying to hit it because I lived in the Philippines, so I know, you know, if you really starving and all that sort of stuff, either you're out on the streets or you're fugazi because the ones who can be online and have you have to buy minutes to talk with people. Um, you have money. It's like you're sending the same message to like 50 to 100 other people at the same time, hoping someone bites. I'm not falling for that. Sarah says, "What's the scariest story that you've heard from your wife's culture? Culture stories are always the scariest." Uh, I don't know. Do you mean like you mean dealing with um like cultural like I don't know like horror stories like stuff because they do have like mystical creatures in the Philippine culture. Um, for instance, if you want to know a lot about some of the mystical creatures they believe in the Philippines, you can check out this animated series on Netflix called Tressie. Tressie is actually based on a Philippine comic book. One of my friends overseas, another black guy who lives over there, he he's actually in the indie art scene of the Philippines. Like he knows that guy personally. Like they're friends who wrote it, and they made it into a animated series on Netflix. Unfortunately, it didn't get picked up for a second season, but it goes into a lot of the specific characters they have there, and I can't remember lots of the names of some of these little spooky characters they have over there. I know there's like this little hobbit type creature, but I don't know the name of it. Which can be like a he can be like both a naughty creature or just like um, they're, they're they're more like I guess like gnomes, but they can be like evil or they can be kind of benign, depending on it. Um, but you know they but they definitely have like beliefs in like ghosts and stuff like that because you can imagine like taking like this culture that was like a just like Indonesia and Malaysia, like these were the religions that predated the Western religions coming there were like all animist type religions. Um, and then it gets mixed with Catholicism. I'll tell you what actually the scariest thing is over there. It's not the heart, the creatures. What's scary is some of these cults over there. There's these things called Rizal cults. So the national the national founder over there is Jose Rizal, and there's these cults that center around him. Like they're ostensibly Christian, but they kind of worship like Rizal in some sort of way, and they can push people into doing like very weird things. There's one that even is sort of like an organized crime unit, a like criminal organization over there. To me, that's scary because they do really bad things and like actually bad things. So, all right, this weirdo is flooding me, so I'm gonna ban this idiot. And I'm telling you, the guy, you guys might think I'm being weird or mean to this guy, but he was on before, and I told him cut it out, Muhammad. He was like, "My name isn't Muhammad. My name is actually Marie, um, and I'm from the Philippines." I'm like, "No, you're not." Like, they think I'm stupid. Like, I know the MD is how most people spell Muhammad on that side of the world because there's literally so many people within the sub-Indian continent and the Middle East and in Indonesia, which is the largest Muslim country per capita in the world, that there's so many people named Muhammad within those three areas that they just abbreviated MD and then put their other name uh, to to be able to tease each other apart. So anytime you see someone with MD or MHD in their username, that stands for Muhammad. That is a guy. I don't care what sort of picture they have up next to their name. It is a guy. and they're going to be trying to catfish you. Most of them are scammers. They're a bunch of little podunk idiots. And let's be honest, most people from the Indian subcontinent and parts of the Middle East are extremely socially awkward online. So much so that most of them get banned in Facebook groups because they don't know how to act with people. They do the same thing on YouTube and on Instagram. They're very weird. They're trying to they try to scam people, either love scams or financial scams. They're all a bunch of weirdos. So I just ended up banning him because he couldn't he couldn't keep his predilections to himself. So uh, so you should like old fables. Yeah, so the Philippines has a bunch of them. Like my wife, she's a skeptic like me, so she doesn't believe in stuff like that, but she definitely knows of some of these tales. But I can't remember the names of any of these creatures right now. But like I said, if you watch the if you check out the series on Netflix called Tressie, it will definitely give you a whole bunch of insight into like the different Philippine mystical beings. Uh, Jerkaith says because she didn't want me to think she was a scammer, she took further tests and nothing was discovered, but it was pretty funny. Oh, I'm sorry. I skipped his first comment. Jerkaith says actually funny stories that the goiter scam is kind of common. Probably that sounds more like related to like Indian and African scams to me. But okay. Um, and when I was dating my wife, she went to the doctor and they told her she might have a goiter, and she started crying um, because she didn't want me to think she was a scammer. She took further tests and nothing was discovered, but it was pretty funny. Sarah says I'll check out the Tressie. Thanks. Cool, cool. Sarah says MD kick rocks. Yes, I banned that weirdo. It's definitely a guy telling me, and like I said, last time he was on here, he was telling me he was a woman. I'm like, no, you're not. Your name is Muhammad. Drew says the TikTok and S-Wang, no, the Tik Tik and S-Wang are common monsters from the Philippines folklore. Yeah, I remember the S-Wang. Yep. But I don't remember. Which one is the little hobbit type creature though? Like they hate like if you like in the countryside, like if you walk over like a hill, it might be their one of their homes or something like that. Asswang is a lady that eats babies. Oh, I don't know why they hit that comment, but I put that made that public. Uh, Sarah says thanks for Kath. Sarah says my favorite folklore is Japanese, Irish, and Scottish. Okay, Japanese got a lot, right? Irish, obviously. I'm the leprechaun. That's like I got that from Mike Myers. So I'm the leprechaun. Sarah says we always like to learn a new folklore story to tell on Halloween. Turkel says maybe he just has the hots for you. Even still, it's still weird. I'm not, and actually, a lot of them are. There are a lot of undercover gay dudes in those parts of like the Middle East and India. Again, that's that sounds like a personal problem, not my problem. He can go weird out some people on another live stream. But yeah. Um, what so Jerkev, do you remember the name of the hobbit type creature in the Philippines? That's what I'm trying to remember. And I think Indonesia, Malaysia, and the Philippines all have like a similar creature, like a female creature that um comes back sort of it's like a ghoul, a demon, after she's been like killed and done something was done wrong to her. when she was a living human or something. I can't remember the name of that, but I think each country has like a different name for it. The Wendy. Yep, that's what it's called. The Wendy. Yep, she's right. Tell her thank you for me. That's the best one. Plus, when I went to the Philippine museum, the National Museum, the National Museum of the Philippines in Manila, they were actually showing pictures of some of the mystical creatures. That's why I remember that one. The funny thing is, and you can ask your wife this too. A lot of Filipinos didn't like the Trussie animation when it came out because the actress they got is Filipino American, and they were saying that she couldn't speak Tagalog correctly. They said her they said her Tagalog was incorrect. So a lot of them, so a lot of my friends and in-laws in the Philippines said they actually and watched it in Japanese and then just looked at just read the English subtitles because they said they hated the way the actress spoke Tagalog because you could either watch it in English and Filipino or I think in Japanese and maybe some other languages. And a lot of them, since they're not like the English is too quick for them, they rather watch it in English subtitles. And so they so they turned it to Japanese and just watched it in Japanese in the English subtitles because they said the Filipino Americans dial way she was trying to speak Filipino was completely off. Sarah says, "What's the name of the Japanese folklore monster that is female that her head detached for her to feed at night?" That's in a famous manga, and they turned it into a anime series. It's on Netflix. Sarah, it's called I'm gonna butcher the name Junjito Ito Ichi or something like that. I actually didn't like the anime. It was really weird, but that creature was in that anime. It's called Junjito or something like that. But I think when they translated it, um, if you it was just called Tales of the McCabe. So you can look that up on Netflix. It's called Tales of the McCabe, um, or McCabe, which however you pronounce it. I just say McCabe since I speak French. Um, but uh, it was a weird anime, but they did have that character on there. Sarah says Duende. Yeah, I think it's a W and a D. Uwende. Uh, Trake says I've been to the Philippines like 5 times, but didn't ever spend much time in Manila. Usually Cebu, Dumaguete, or CDO. Yeah, I spent most all my time in Manila because that to me was the best place to be. Because I like like the city life and stuff. Something that I get very little of actually here in here in the states. um, but yeah, I've been there 4 times. But the 4 times I was there for like a long time, except for the last time. But yeah, I'm usually there for very long. So 4 times back, like going back and forth. Trickhead says oops. I saw the animated show on Netflix, Tressie, but we never watched it. My wife is a scaredy cat. She screams at cobwebs in the corner. Yeah, like I said, the so my friend is a close friend of the artist who did it. So when I go back, he's gonna sign my comic books for me. I was supposed to actually give them to my friend like 3 years ago when the show cart came out, so that he can have his friend sign my books. Because what happened was, on Free Comic Book Day back in, I think it was 2022 or 2021. Every year there's something called Free Comic Book Day, where all the comic book companies will release free comic books to kind of get you into their new stuff. And one of the things they released on Free Comic Book Day was actually Tressie, and that was which was like a big thing that a local Philippine comic book made it to Free Comic Book Day here in America. Like that was a major thing. So I still have that. I kept two of them because, like I said, they're literally free comic books you can get from the comic book store, or from the library, or the bookstore if there's still bookstores near you. Like in the Philippines, there's a bookstore called National Bookstore, which is sort of like Barnes and Nobles. Um, but yeah, in these places they'll give you like these free comic books on Free Comic Book Day, and that made it that day. I mean that year. So I'm gonna get those autographed by the artist. Sarah says, "Oh, they have it on Netflix." I heard it when I was stationed years ago in Japan from some locals, and it always horrified me the way they told it. Yeah, it's called Tales of the McCabe, and like I said, I forget the actual Japanese name. I think it's called something like Junjito Ito Ichi or something like that. I know I'm butchering that, but if you look up Tales of the McCabe on Netflix, it's on there, and each episode is like a different. It's like they're not connected. It's all episodic, so each episode is like a separate story about something that happens, and it's very weird. And I'll tell you another thing. It's probably actually better if you watch it in the subtitles than if you watch it dubbed. The the actors, the English voiceovers they have for the dub version just sounds really bad. It sounds much better in the Japanese. Jerkes says, "I love how National Bookstore shrink wraps the books." Yeah, I forgot about that because I haven't bought anything from them in a while. Like even my little mall um, that was attached to my condo is called SM Light Mall. Even they had a National Bookstore in there. It was a really small version of National Bookstore because you know National Bookstore is usually a pretty large store, but they had like a miniature one at SM Light, and even they took a lot of care with like all the stuff. It was like a lot. I went there like if we needed stationery items, not so much to buy books though, but if we needed any sort of office or stationery items, since I worked from home and my wife worked at the bank, so that was the go-to place. Sarah says, "Oh wow!" So when I was told by a few locals, I'm talking 23 years ago, they would describe sounds to watch out for. It still creeps me out. LOL. Yeah, I don't get spooked too easily. Like to me, the what's the scariest things to me are actual people. People are scary because people are both stupid and unpredictable. That scares me more than so-called like ghosts and goblins and stuff like that. Like if I hear something banging, if I hear sounds in the night, I'm not worried about ghosts or demons or goblins. I'm worried is Pookie and Ray Ray trying to break into the house and hold up, let me go get my tool to deal with this person. That's what I'm thinking at night when I hear things go bump in the night. I'm not thinking ghosts. I'm thinking I'm thinking burglar. Pookie and Ray Ray. Oh, spook. Oh, that's no, that's good. That's good. Spooky and Ray Ray. That's a good one. Spooky and Ray Ray. That's good. I like that one. But I'm telling you, I'm really nostalgic for the pumpkin. I keep thinking about the pumpkin patch. That was Low key, that was so fun, man. I gotta get my kids to experience that. The problem is like I'm gonna raise my kids overseas, so I don't know how I'm gonna get them to experience a pumpkin patch. Um, I'll probably just have to bring them here to America to do that, to experience that. So yeah, I agree, Charlie Brown. Oh, by the way, the last so here's another funny thing, Sarah. So the last time I went trick or treating was actually when I was 18. True story. My cousin and I, and she was 2 years older than I am. So um, she's she's like 20, going on 21. I'm 18, and wait, was I 18 or like no? No, I was sorry. No, I was 19. I was 19 and she was 21. And there's no way these people believe we were kids. But I wore like a Charlie Brown shirt, like an actual Charlie Brown shirt that I got from Spencer's Gifts. And I had on my Charlie Brown shirt. She had, I forgot what she was wearing. And we were like trick or treat. We literally were in this neighborhood trick or treating, and they gave us candy. I couldn't believe we got away with that. And for me, and I think my cousin too, it was just something fun because it's something we hadn't done since we were little kids. Especially because what happened. So when I was living in Illinois, remember I said how we switched churches, and so when we moved, once my mother and stepfather started going to this more strict Baptist church, like they had convinced my mother that celebrating Halloween was satanic and all this dumb shit. So I was no longer allowed to go to trick or treating after I was like, I guess I'm gonna say like 11 or 12. Um, so she didn't want us to celebrate anything Halloween related whatsoever. She would still buy us candy for the house, but couldn't go to any parties, couldn't trick or treat. And even my best friend's parents was like, "Oh, that's ridiculous. Why she's not letting them go trick or treating for because of her church." You say you still watch Charlie Brown every year, so they took it off regular TV. Um, I think you now have to watch it on like Paramount Plus or some. So, but what happened last year, Sarah, was I remember since they no longer play it on regular TV, what happened was Apple TV said that you could watch it for free on their platform without a subscription, since they knew that a lot of people miss being able to watch it for free every year on regular TV. Um, but I hope they do that again this year. Is let people watch it for free on Apple TV or some other platform, because I think it's owned by Paramount Plus now or something. Because I think all the Charlie Brown stuff used to come on CBS, and Apple TV, I guess, had bought the rights to play it, and Apple TV let people watch it for free last year. And Dirty Speed, it's not too soon for spooky season. I think you just came into it. Like I said, as far as I'm concerned, the start of the school year is the start of spooky season, and people have already since last week started gearing up towards spooky season. I've seen people with things on their houses hanging up, like with pumpkins and stuff. I've seen stuff online and on TV gearing up towards spooky season. And like I said, the beginning of the school year, that's spooky season for me. What's too early for me is July 5th, because some people say July 5th is the beginning. That's way too early. But I say the beginning of the school year is the beginning of spooky season. Sarah says, so question have been all over the world as we both have, and many of your viewers. Have you noticed that some countries take Halloween as more of a All Hallows Eve and seriously than us? Yeah, so in the Philippines, like I said, they see it as the eve of All Saints Day or All Hallows Eve. They don't treat it as Halloween like we do as a ceremonial pagan holiday like we do. They take it as the the eve to an important holiday, which is All Saints Day for them. So you might see some people in the Philippines going to church on that day. Um, but like I said, there, people will trick or treat and stuff like that in the Philippines, and you can go to the malls and they have things set up for Halloween. But you don't really see like parties and stuff like that. Like I said, I think the most notorious place for Halloween celebration is in Shibuya, Tokyo. If someone know, if some of you know like of a greater celebration going on or equal to the one that goes on in Shibuya, then let me know. Because like I said, it got so bad in Tokyo that the authorities were trying to shut down Halloween celebrations in Shibuya because it got so out of hand. Seriously, yeah, we bought it on Prime a few years ago. Okay, so you get to watch it. Free Bill Walton says, "What's up?" Dirty Speed says, "It's 2 months away. Settle down, dude. That's your bag. Like, if you don't like it, fine. But again, a lot of people are already starting to celebrate spooky season. Like I said, It starts the beginning of the school year here in Maryland. School starts this Monday, uh, and for college kids, they're already moving into campus this weekend because school starts for them this next week too. So all college kids are moving into their campus housing this weekend here in Maryland. So here is the start of spooky season. If you don't like it, that's your bag, my friend. You don't like you're not gonna you're not gonna bring down our spooky season festivities. Traquel says Halloween is mostly an American thing. In the Philippines, it's treated more like Day of the Dead, where relatives are at visit. I heard they started celebrating Halloween in South Korea. Oh yeah, 'cause South Korea, particularly like Seoul and some of those other places. I can't remember the other places in South Korea like Hongdae and those other places. Like I've always said that South Korea is like a knockoff Japan. So I wouldn't be surprised if South Korea has been catching up, with Japan as far as like a lot of their, you know, westernized celebrations and stuff. I could definitely see some partying, but I don't think they have anything on Shibuya yet. Sarah says, Mexico. Okay, I could definitely see some celebration in Mexico. Jerkev says 12 people died in South Korea at a Halloween party the last year or the year before. That's terrible. Dirty Speech says moving in wearing costumes. No, 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 no. I'm not. No, I wasn't saying they were moving into the campuses wearing costumes. What I was saying was that spooky season is kind of aligned with the start of the school year. That's what I was saying, bro. Like, I'm not saying they were moving into like I can show you like well I can't show you, but I could post like clippets of videos of people moving in to campus this weekend. I'm start this this today, as a matter of fact, because most people move in like a few days before classes start, and people get to know each other, hang out in the dorms. Some girls are already becoming fresh meat, if you've heard that phrase. Some some have already become fresh meat the weekend before classes start. Um, College was just great. Undergrad was just great, but no, they're not moving and wearing costumes. Probably the only thing they're wearing is like their new uh, shirt, like probably wearing like shirts and hats from their alma mater. Draco says, "Oh, bro, you're in Maryland. Have you been to Nando's? Uh, Nando's Peri Peri? Yeah, but I've been there to the one in the Philippines, not the one here." Darius B says, "Do you have a costume for Halloween?" Not yet. I'm ordering one uh, on eBay if I don't get it first from Third Eye Comics here in Maryland. There's a Batman costume, and it's like the old fashioned costumes that we used to buy from the toy store back in the 80s, 70s, and 90s. It's one of those, but they have them sized for adults now. So I'm buying those. However, I'm probably not gonna wear it because the 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 material that those used to be made from were really flimsy and were easy to tear. So I'm just keeping it as a collectible. If I do wear a costume, it would be like one of the more um one of like a cosplay costume that I can order in one of those comic book catalogs, because you can go to like a lot of comic book stores and you can have them um order you like specific cosplay costumes. So for me, I might do something like the um the Green Lantern, the John Stewart version. Jerkes says I was super wrong. It was 159 people that died in the Taiwan, 196 injured. It was in 2022. They named the incident Seoul Halloween Crowd Crush. I think I heard something about that back in the day. Of like, I mean, not back in the day, like 2 years ago. I think I did hear something about that. Sarah says, "Oh, my hubby just said, what about Caroline?" That's fine. Who was the? But what character would he play though? I haven't watched. I'm trying to remember if I watched Coraline or not, because I get that confused with those other stop animation films that I think were made by Tim Burton. Some of them were made. I think some were made by Tim Burton, some weren't, but they kind of all fit in together. I don't like I said. I don't know who the male character he would play though from Coraline, because I don't remember. I think there was like a boy that was her boyfriend in that movie. I can't remember. I can't remember the movie. She said, "Yeah, that's what I said." Well, that's literally what she said. The Guyver would be a good costume. That would be. It would be, but how would you get that? The Guyver is a very technical looking costume, because it's a the Guyver is a Gundam suit. So how would you? Well, I don't want to piss some people off because they'll say, uh, actually, it can't be a Gundam suit because only if it's not part of Mobile Suit Gundam, it's not a gun. Well, whatever. You know what I mean? But yeah, I don't. Yeah, I don't think the. I don't know. I don't know any place that will sell the Guyver as a cosplay costume. It's from a. It's from a manga. Sarah, she's saying, "Who's that?" It's from a manga, and they made it into a. They made it into a live action movie. Back in like, was it like the 90s? It wasn't very good, and it even had JJ from Good Times in that movie. It wasn't a good movie, but I heard the manga's, I think, pretty good. But it's sort of like a Gundam or tech suit, like Robotech. Drakesa says Japanese superhero like a biomechanical Iron Man. Yeah, like I said, it's a Gundam suit. Sarah says he loves the character Kratos from the game. If I'm spelling that right, I'll make the costumes. You can make those? Well, yeah, I can see making a Kratos outfit. I think it's Kratos. I can see making that, but no one's making a. It would take a lot of tinkering to make a Guyver costume. I just don't think there are any. Hey, Mark Hamill. I didn't even remember that. Free Bill Walton says my uncle had a bizarre fantasy to kill a predator on Halloween every year. He would drive his car around the town with a shotgun on the passenger seat. Strangely, it seemed he hoped he would get a chance. That's weird. Are you talking about like Predator from the movie Predator? Or are you talking about people like trying to hurt other people? That either way, that sounds very bizarre. Dirty Species. I guess I got to be the Joker, your nemesis. I guess Joker's an easy outfit to put on. Um, Diddy did it. Oh, Diddy did do it, didn't he? But no, um, but no. Puff Daddy Sean Combs dressed up as the Joker one year, and I think DC told him to gave him a cease and desist because of it. Like he spent like serious money actually like to look like the Heath Ledger version of Joker from The Dark Knight. He just came off as creepy, and I'm like, he's probably just actually being himself in the costume, but whatever. That's why they now call him the Diddler. By the way, guys, can you hear the relaxing music in the background? It's called 3 Hours of Relaxing Sleep Music with the rain sounds, peaceful music in the warm bedroom. Sounds about right, except it's not raining here. Sarah says, hell yeah. LOL, I made my son assassin an Assassin Creed's costume one year and we got offered $385 for it. Wow. So yeah, like I'm saying, when you're saying being poor led to like creating your own costumes, that's a that's a plus. That was a, I'm not being poor as a plus. I'm saying being able to have the ability to create your own Halloween costumes, that's a plus. I would have took I would take a homemade costume over like those pre-made costumes that we all wore back in the day. But now everyone has like a nostalgia for those old costumes. That's why they brought it back in adult sizes now. Dirty Species lo-fi tunes, yeah. It's the channel that releases this is called Relaxing Rain Sleep Music. But yeah, but yeah, basically it's a form of lo-fi music. Absolutely. So if I run out of music, that means it's time for me to go because it's already like 2 hours and 3 minutes in. Pause. Let me see something here, guys. Um, oh yes, 10:57. So I want to get some more food, and I think I'm gonna eat some Lucky Charms. I'm a big kid. I'm sorry. I mean, I'm gonna eat some Lucky Charms. I'm gonna ask my friend about the Yu-Gi-Oh cards and put it on my list if he doesn't have any. Um, then I'm gonna make sure that I still have on my eBay list, wish list, the Batman costume and the Universal Monster action figures from the original ones from the '80s, not the new ones. The original ones released by I can't remember uh what toy company made them. Free Bill Walton says at least it seemed he was at least it seemed he wanted was was to be a Vietnam War veteran, so I think maybe he enjoyed killing people to help others, which is ironic since he served in Nam. I don't know. That just sounds weird, dude. Like I don't get the whole. Was he? I don't know. Like I don't know what you mean by saying he wanted to go out and shoot predators. Was he out trying to shoot people that he thought were criminals, or do you mean he was out trying to shoot Predator from the sci-fi movie with Arnold Schwarzenegger? I don't get that. Oh, random information, guys. The Predator was originally supposed to be played by Jean Claude Van Damme, and he actually shot several shots in costume, and then they decided to go with something else. They wanted to make the figure more scary, and they, you know, chose a different body actor for it. But originally, that was Jean Claude Van Damme playing the Predator in the original movie. Jeremy Collins says the Rizzler, the Rizzler, not the Diddler, but the Rizzler. Free Bill Wall says he's trying to shoot child predators. But how would he know? That again, that doesn't fucking make sense. There's no again, there was this paranoia in the 80s and late 70s that there were satanic cults out there. They were going around kidnapping and abducting children. It even showed up in this old movie with Tom Hanks and Dan Aykroyd called Dragnet, where they actually apprehended, went undercover to apprehend this satanic cult. But that was like an urban legend. Like there were no satanic cults going out there abducting child. Basically, the person that guy Bill was basically someone who needs professional help. He sounds like he's suffering some PTSD, and probably has some sort of suffering from some sort of psychotic disorder. To think he's gonna go out there and shoot random people whom he deems to be child predators. How does he know someone's a child predator unless they're literally attacking children? That's just weird. And even if the person was, you're not. People can make citizens arrests, but you are not allowed to just murder people whom you believe are like hurting children. That's weird as f. He needs. He probably needs to be locked up. That's why some. That's why, although I'm a big 2A, two Second Amendment advocate, I don't believe all people should have guns. I think if you have mental illness, you should not have access to guns. Because that's weird. Sarah says, thanks for another good social talk. Take care, brother. I'm turning in. I'm about to turn in myself, Sarah. So thank you. Thank you for walking me through that little bit of nostalgia. Now I'm going to want some pumpkin pie. Like in a few weeks, I might have to buy some from the store and some pumpkin seeds. Bill Wallen says, I'm not saying he was a vigilante. It was strange. Yes, it's definitely strange. Like someone out there stalking at night looking for child predators. That's very weird. And I mean, unless you're talking about nowadays where they actually can look the people up, then yeah, that's still weird because that actually happened in, I think it was in Connecticut or Maine several years ago. Someone was actually going and looking up people on the sexual offender registry. Actually, I shouldn't say it online because YouTube doesn't want you saying certain things. So the SO registry and was actually going out and killing those people, everyone on those lists. So they actually had to, so the local authorities had to actually take that list offline because these people going around throwing hits on them. Like, I'm not defending anyone who's done stuff like that, but outside of people, outside of the law, people don't have the right to just go around murdering people because of the crimes they committed. And now, if you are there when you're actually seeing someone doing something like that, then yeah, by all means, if you want to protect children, protect women, protect elderly, protect um, people who are cognitively handicapped, who are being in the process of attacked at the time, go ahead and do so within reason. Within reason, um, because you'll probably be um, because probably what's going to happen is that the state the state's attorney or district attorneys will probably refuse to will after hearing of what happened, will probably refuse to charge that person with a crime if they see that they've done something that was actually in for the good of the community. But it's a touchy subject, and like I said, it would be within reason. To say within reason, it's going to be very subjective. So yeah, probably the best thing to do is to call the police if you see something happening. If you can intervene, do so, but within reason. I, coming from the particular background I have within the black community, we've always been told by our parents not to get involved if we see something, but to get the authorities. So, Mercanoy says, I remember on the news a guy who thought he was a vigilante. He ended up cutting someone's arm off and another's head with a machete while on driving a dirt bike. Ugh, that's horrible. Well, guys, this is supposed to be something fun I want to talk about. I'm talking about spooky season. I'm not trying to talk about stuff that you see on like um, Discovery, on the Discovery, what do you call it, channel? Whatever the Discovery Channel is, where they show nothing but like um, crime drama all day. I'm not. I didn't want to turn this into crime drama. I'm just talking about fun stuff, which is spooky season. The fake gore, not the real gore. um, can't say gore too many times, or Al Gore show up if you stop playing. But no, yeah, it's like I said. I want to keep it lighthearted. Spooky season is a fun time of the year. Like I said, as far as I'm concerned, people can have their own different starts of when they think it starts, but I say it starts at the beginning of the school year. Makes the most sense. But if you want to start it in October, that's fine as well. But for me, it starts at the beginning of the school year. Cooler weather, pike, pumpkin spice everywhere. People start staying home more. The days get shorter. So, favorite horror movie? Um, favorite. I I don't really have a favorite horror movie because horror was never really my favorite genre of can well, I guess it doesn't count. So I have favorite movies related to like scary stuff, but they're not horror movies. So I would say Ghostbusters, which I guess isn't really a horror movie. It's horror comedy. The first Ghostbusters anyway was a horror comedy, I guess. But it's not like a horror movie. So like Ghostbusters, the Teen Wolf, because Teen Wolf actually has some scary moments in it. Um, but Ghostbusters, Teen Wolf, maybe Scream, the very first one. That's when like Drew Barrymore made her like came back as an adult actress. Because before then, like she had kind of fell off on Hollywood. Like the only thing Drew Barrymore was making before Scream came out in '96 was she was making like um these little low budget films where she was looking like she was kind of cracked out. I think she did have a drug habit at one point, but people were concerned about her in Hollywood. And I think back in '96 when she made her her full fledged return to Hollywood, she looked cleaned up, and her scene was believable. So I think Scream was pretty good. But what I hated was in like the late '90s, early 2000s, it was like all these little wannabe movies like Scream. So also I remember what you did last summer, and like two other little franchises that try to like kind of be like Scream back then. But yeah, Ghostbusters, which I know it's not a real horror movie, but I love that movie. Teen Wolf, Scream. Um, hmm. The 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 '90s version of Bram Stoker's Dracula. That was cool. Oh, Blade. Blade. Does that count? Blade. Blade was good. Um, yeah, like I said, I've watched a lot of horror movies, but like I said, I can't really say one of them was my favorite. I think back in the day, one of my favorites was Nightmare on Elm Street Part Four, the Dream Warrior, because three, four, and five were like a trilogy unto themselves. Like one and two were like connected to each other, but three, four, and five were like a separate thing. Like three was the I think Nightmare on Elm Street three was like the dream. Oh, the Nightmare on Elm Street 3 was like the Dream Warriors. The Nightmare on Elm Street 4 was the Dream Master. And then Nightmare on Elm Street 5 was like the Dream Child or something like that. So Nightmare on Elm Street 4 like was my favorite one of all of them. Then I really like Friday the 13th Part 2. I think that was the one with Corey, with one of the Corys in it. I can always forget the different. One is Corey Haim, and the other one's Corey um, something Feld, whatever. That was good. Leprechaun, the first Chucky, um, Critters. No, that was kind of weird. Ghoulies, Goblins, um, Tales from the Crypt, the movie. Uh, if I probably would have to think like it would probably like it was so many horror movies like I would have to go back and really think of all the movies I saw to pick out my favorite. But I'm just gonna say Ghostbusters, and I know that's not a real horror movie, but it had horror elements to it. Like the second one was goofy and all the sequels were goofy, but the very first one actually had like scary elements in it. But oh, okay, no, here we go. So if you're talking about like actual horror movie, I'll say Gremlins. So Ghostbusters or Gremlins. Like if Ghostbusters count, then Ghostbusters. But if Ghostbusters doesn't count, then I'm gonna say Gremlins was my favorite. Dirty Speed says the Poughkeepsie tapes freak me out. I've never even heard of that. He says the Cult of Chucky makes me laugh more than anything. Did I watch that one? Is that the one? I mean, it's like there was the wife, the Chucky, the bride of Chucky. Then there was the son of Chucky. That's when it just got ridiculous. And then they did a remake where they had Mark Hamill playing him. That came out a few years ago. And then they did a sequel to that, I think. And then they made it into a TV show on I can't, I can't remember if it's it's either on the USA channel or it's on Sci-Fi, but they had like uh, a mini series based on Chucky, on but it was based on the new version of Chucky, not on the original version of Chucky. But guys, I'm about to go. But yeah, like I said, so my favorite horror movie, at least horror comedy, I guess, would be Ghostbusters. But if Ghostbusters doesn't fit your palate, then I'll go with Gremlins. Gremlins would probably be my favorite one. So either of those two is about a tie for me. But I think I'm gonna call it. I think I'm gonna call this. But unless anyone else has any comments before I go or questions. But what do you guys say? Does Ghostbusters count or no? Losing my voice too, so that's another reason why I need to go. But yeah, if you guys have any other lasting um, comments and we didn't get to it, you can you can always leave in the comment section. Yeah, I'm definitely not doing a flip. um, if you want to see any of my fitness related stuff, then you can become a member, and I'm leaving a lot of fitness related stuff um, in my um, in my members only section. I did a flexibility routine that anyone can perform who has like normal range of motion. Um, and then I did a push up uh, a push up video where I showed how many I can do in one set before burning out. So, and I'll probably be doing another one soon too. Anyway, guys, I'm gone. Um, if you have any thoughts, questions, queries, criticisms, comments, you can leave it in the comment section. You can check this on a replay once I upload this. Check it out if you want to see it from the beginning. Um, oh, and give don't be shy and give me a like and a subscribe. I do have memberships, so if you want to do that, you can sign up for memberships as well, or you can show your support by buying me a coffee or cash apping me or sending a super thanks. Um, all of those will be in the description. And well, like I said, besides liking and subscribing, you can share the video with others. It helps me grow the channel. And you can hit the bell for notifications when I'm uploading a new video. So, having said that, went through all of that. I will talk to you guys later, unless anyone has another comment. Um, but if I don't get to it, you can leave it in the comment section. So I appreciate it. And again, spooky season is now upon us. And like I said, as I've defined it, I see it as the start of every school year. And the start of the school year may be different from where I am to where you are. Here is starting this week. I mean next week, next Monday. So as kids are gearing towards this being their last weekend before school starts, this is for me the beginning of spooky season. Because maybe what's spooky is returning to school. Ooh, so no, but in all seriousness, I used to love the return to school. Maybe that wasn't shared by everyone, but the return to school every year was always pretty awesome to me. From elementary school to even college, I've always enjoyed it. I've never felt a sense of dread towards the returning to school because it was still summertime, so you can still enjoy that weather and stuff like that. But now you're in the midst of school. And I enjoyed it. I like being able to go to school to socialize and meet, be with my friends, and I actually enjoyed some of the subjects we were learning. So, but I was a nerd. So, any case, guys, I'll see you later. Again, if my eyes look weird, I had a little anaphylactic shock yesterday to some sort of pollen or some sort of other allergen that I couldn't identify, but I think I've pretty much come over it uh, after this afternoon. But if my eyes look a little puffy, it is from. It's not because I'm tired. It's actually because of that allergic reaction I had yesterday that made my eyes swell up and gave me this vasoconstriction that I couldn't breathe properly. So I think I look normal, but I can't tell. So that's it, guys. See you same bat time, same bat channel. Oh, and tomorrow, Miss Needle, one of my biggest followers on here, she'll be live with me again for a second time, and we're going to be talking about sex, drugs, and rock and roll. So that will be tomorrow, afternoon here, which is Eastern Standard Time. So somewhere between 2 and 4 p.m. we should be going live, Miss Nito and I. So you can check that out. Thanks, guys, but take care.